This is Trinont, and this is Path of Exile Necropolis, the slow playthrough. We're not playing these characters. Papercut Trin in SSF has completed the Tier 1 maps, and now it is time for Tier 2, or is it? Because one thing that's always worth keeping on your toes about in maps is upgrading your gear. Believe it or not, keep an eye out for gear upgrades. Continues all the way through the endgame. There is arguably a point where you have gear that you don't want to upgrade anymore, but it takes a very long time to get there. Really, there's almost always a reason to keep an eye out. Wait, how have I only done 3 maps? Oh, I know, because one of them was Kirak. Okay. This tracker is off by 1 map because I did 1 map in the Kirak room. So we've done all the tier 1s, but now there's a whole another 8 maps to do on the tier 2 level. I guess one thing to talk about is Atlas strategies. The Atlas being this thing, and the strategies being the skill tree here. The goal of the Atlas in some ways, it has really 2 forks. One is to fill this map out, this whole sheet out. There's a fog of war right now, but it'll basically spread through all this sheet. There's 115 maps, and there is ultimately a goal of getting all 115 ready. The other goal is to beat the bosses at the end, because at the end of the maps there are in fact bosses. So how does one... I guess the real question is... So the Atlas strategy at first is getting all your points, or at least enough of them. And the first part of that is getting points from map completion. There are completion points for defeating the pinnacle bosses, as they're called, but that's further down the line. That's actually near the end of mapping. So how do we get map chance? Well, the Atlas tree here is divided kind of into 3 layers. The first layer is adjacent map drop chance. So when you do a map, there's adjacent maps, they have an increased chance to drop if you take these nodes. So these nodes are worth taking. Past this line, those little tiny nodes become scarabs found in maps. Scarabs are good. This is a recent change. It used to be maps are duplicated. Scarabs are good for farming strats. Then there's this wheel. This wheel is increased quantity of items, which is generally a very strong stat. And the inner ring is quantity and rarity, which is also a very good stat. These are very valuable nodes. Because item quantity affects all drops, and basically Magic Find is very powerful in this game. Then the final layer is Map Modifier Effect, which increases the effect of explicit modifiers. Explicit modifiers are those difficulty modifiers we saw earlier. Let's see if we have any magic maps that show that. Nope. Here's a rare map. So the Patches of Chilled Ground, Area of Effect, Crit Multi, and Fizz's Lightning all would become harder. The thing is, that also affects their item quantity and rarity bonuses. So you basically have a trade-off of making the maps harder, but they give better item quantity and rarity find. So that's why it's such a late, higher up in the tree effect, because you generally don't want to take these until you're better at the game, essentially. Or your character is better. Maybe you're not better, but at least your character might be. You're able to handle the higher tier maps. Maps do get pretty hard in the higher tiers, especially with these map modifier effects and such. The rest of the nodes are all League-specific stuff. We are going to first beeline towards Commissioned Officer. There is one thing we haven't talked about, and that is Kirak missions. Kirak will offer a mission that should be a tier higher than the latest map you've completed. So tier 2 maps here? Yes. And they're all rare, some are corrupted, and they all have a different goal, like open the smuggler's cache. Find the rare map item. Find the stack of divination cards. The reason the Kirac missions are nice is for two reasons. One, you can find incomplete maps this way. Great. The other is it refreshes Kirac's shop. And what does Kirac sell? Kirac sells maps. And maps are good. Basically, if you want to buy... if you want to fill out gaps in your maps, Kirac is a good starter way to do that. So we want to take Commissioned Officer, which grants Kirac missions on completion. We also might take Planar Tactician, which is the same thing. Kirac missions on completion. And Comprehensive Scouting Reports are pretty good too. I forget if there's any other Kirac nodes. Here we go. We don't really care. Now these nodes are okay. They're not great. I tend to just mostly get Commissioned Officer with the Kirac missions on completion side, which is very good. Even though the Expect the Unexpected is not really a great node. Expert Reconnaissance is probably better. Let's see. So, why are we not doing that right now? Because I want to do a gear pass. And we do have corpses from Necropolis, and I do believe we found some gear here. So our first goal is to up our gear. And that'll require some thinking. I think we'll start every session of the Epilogue with some gear humming and hawing. The biggest problem with gear early on, I think, is shuffling your resistances to balance out life. Another thing is that you can't really rely on just the stats on gear to help you. You also have to rely on crafting and seeing what potentials you have. I can say, oh, this item right here, for instance, doesn't have, well, maybe this item doesn't have a life roll, but it could have a life roll, and that would make it better, kind of deal. At the moment, this is kind of a weak ring. However, it does give us fire res. Now, do we have a fire res item? We do. We have this. Bizleech's Man, but this has chaos res. Do we really suffer that trade-off? I actually like my chaos res being not negative 30 or negative 60, so we'll leave that be. Fire and gold. Fire. What's our defenses right now? Keeping our fire res is 124, so we can take the dip here, and getting cold res might be better. However, this gives a bunch of life, so we might leave that be. This gives lightning res, which ultimately might be better than this. Yeah. Our resistances, our net resistances go up even though our fire res goes down. And we get more chaos resistance, which is definitely valuable. So this might be an upgrade, and that's a thing to look for. And that's the mentality we're going to have for crafting gear. Now, this doesn't have a life roll, but it can have a life roll. And we'll gladly spend 2 alchemy orbs to do that. How wonderful. Now, this had a lot of strength on it, so strength, and for reference, strength every 2 points gives 1 life, so in a way this didn't give just 35 life, it gave 40, or almost 50, so this only has slightly more life added to it, weirdly enough. And that's okay. So we have an upgrade there, that's great. I don't think we care about the heavy belt just yet, so we're just going to keep this in the gear tab. This is where having stash tabs really helps. I don't think any of this matters. Now this thing has 80 life as opposed to our 72. Actually, that's not really much of an upgrade, is it? This gives a lightning res, and this has maxed out suffixes, so we wouldn't be able to fit reses on it. Now this thing does, we do have the ability to swap resistances, but that costs 500 Juice at the Hoarder crafting station, we do not have that. Juice being the life force. So, like, there's a way to swap resistances, and depending on the type of resistance, like cold or lightning into fire costs 500 wild, and the purple resistances into cold will cost the yellow vivid, and then into lightning costs the blue primal. We don't talk about sacred life force just yet. So I think... Now this has no open suffixes, so I might vendor this, because I don't see the... because the lack of elemental resistances is just not enough there. This I will keep. I don't know. Actually, no. It has more life, but only by 8 points, and it doesn't have enough room for resistances. This has Fizz damage leeches mana, so I might keep these. And this we did use, so I'll keep it around. And we'll just vendor the rest to the pay-to-win character, Kadiro. He's not actually pay-to-win, because Lily Roth does the same function. This is just a FOMO lore character. Now I think we gotta tidy up the rest of our inventory. That's not good, that's not good. Well, it has 84 life. This is mediocre. This has Fire and Cold, but it's not a 5-link, and that's going to be much harder to replace. We have Omens and Tattoos, so I'm going to actually make 2 more tabs here. The Dosh tab there is just like various different currencies that don't fit in the currency tab, like incubators, which we haven't talked about yet. Tattoos, which is, let's do purple, and Omen, dark blue. Omens go there, tattoos go there. Let's pick up vendor items. Now this, arguably, could be a good physical damage two-handed sword if I decide to go two-handed. So I'm going to keep this, actually, because it is a 5-link. Not good. Less powerful than our current gear. This has triple res. So we'll keep this around, too. Decent life roll. Not much other stuff going on. Nothing good there, nothing good there. This has intelligence and other attributes, and no open affixes for resistances. This is a 5-link. We could, like, Chaos Orbit or something. I don't know. Use high essence spam. This has a huge life roll, but unfortunately doesn't give much of resistances. We'll keep it around for consideration in the offhand tab. Has no open suffixes either for more resistances, because resistances, again, are suffixes, and you want to be able to fit as many as possible to cover your bases up to your max res value. And sort these jewels a little bit. This will eventually, where is it? This thing will eventually be a good jewel. Well, spell damage block while holding a shield. Because we do use swords, we don't use crit or bleed, so it's almost a good jewel. This is actually a pretty good eye jewel. It has life and accuracy, and lightning damage with sword attacks, which actually doesn't matter. Because we don't care about lightning damage, we care about physical damage. This is a surprisingly good ring. Fire, cold, no lightning. That might replace this thing. Let me find out. Easiest way to find out is just to craft gear. Our cold res goes down to 93. But honestly, I might take that trade. Because our chaos res goes up to -3. While we're at it, let's see if we can craft anything on this ring. Physical damage to attacks? Yes, yes, yes. We could do that. For 2 Chaos Orbs, I'd rather not do 2, but I could do 1 for Transmutation Orbs. Why not? And our accuracy is still fine. Our life pool has gone up. We'll keep this jewelry though, because it was pretty good for us. And we don't have any vendor items, so we'll clean up our tab. Now this may seem like kind of tedious, but I think part of the fun of PoE is not just realizing you're playing the you're slashing monsters, but you're also looking at gear. PoE is actually about appraising items half the time or more, and then utilizing your appraisal to its best effect in the battlefield. Now our next thing is we have the Necropolis. Alright, let's keep some coffins. Now these are the family coffins, which create unique items, so we don't care about them. I don't think we have anything here that matters. So we might actually just keep these going for now. I'm going to hold off on that. Now the final step is to think about our skill sets. Because this is, I think maps is where I start looking at my skills and like, you know what, I could adjust these. Blood Rage and Steel Skin, that's fine. However, there is a skill we can use called Automation that makes our Steel Skin pop up even more. It's somewhere around here. Hello. Let me just double check that I can't get that from Act 3. Because if I can, that getting gems from Axe levels them up faster. And it looks like, yeah, we can get it. Alright, and we can use it. So perfect. Our intelligence is not going to be able to max it. No, it might be. We might have enough intelligence to get this all the way to level 20 just fine. Alright, so that's a start. During Cry Call to Arms, we still have that going. Do we have that turned on? No. We should do that. Determination, Herald of Purity. Those are fine, though eventually we want to switch to Pride instead of Herald of Purity. But how much... We might be able to put Pride on right now, but I'm not sure that's... I think Herald of Purity is good for now. Though we could level Pride in our handy-dandy...
There'll be time for that soon enough.
Offhand sets. So let's get some Pride going, which is a nice little aura that makes enemies take more damage if you're near them. Not, though we aren't planning on being near enemies that much, but it's worth thinking about. I really don't think we're ever going to use Chance to Bleed. War Banner.
Watch yourself.
What other skills are we never going to use? We're never going to use Double Strike. Double Strike, you served your purpose, but... Splitting Steel I doubt we're ever going to use, but just in case. Alright, let me make this 3 red. That might be actually kind of hard. This is easier to make 3 red. Alright, so 1 red and 2 green. There we go. And then 3 red. Might be considered wasteful to use Chromatic Orbs on the offhand. I don't care. Chromatic Orbs come cheap at this point in the game. We have so many right now. Alright. So next up is maxing out our sockets. We have things to think about. Dread Banner, Ancestral Protector. Now there's other things that we could do instead of Steel Skin. We could do Immortal Call and cast some damage taken, which actually might not be a bad idea either. That's reduced damage taken, but... And we do use Endurance Charges enough that we'd be using them, but I don't think that's really... I think the Steel Skin's just fine for now. Dread Banner, Ancestral Protector, we got our Poacher's Mark. We want Mark on Hit, actually, for that. Which I think we can get from Act 4, and I want to get these leveled first. Patar Vanya, sell gems. There should be a Mark on Hit gem. Where is it? Here we go.
Be careful.
Okay. Automation Steel Skin. Blood Rage goes like there. And now we just gotta color gems and resocket things. And again, it's worth planning this out in the end game, taking just a little bit of time to look at gear. Let's make this a 4-socket, and also throw some armor scraps this way. The bronze scale is definitely gonna... this is probably gonna go away pretty fast. Also, I'm gonna change my loot filter before I forget to regular. Wait. Yeah, this is low enough to get 4 sockets. There we go. And we actually have the things we want. Automation, Steel Skin, Determination, Herald of Purity. And...
I can't do this just yet.
and let's see. Now we want 2 green, or 3 green. Blood Rage. Mark on Hit, Poacher's Mark. Take that out. Put on automation, which is on. Okay, perfect. Now we are consuming mana now, but that's fine. And we have 2 more gem sockets we can fit in. Because, notice, well, we don't really need Ancestral Protector anymore. It's really just kind of a dead weight item, because we do ranged attacks. Let's take a look here. I also should make this 3 sockets just so I can... and this should be 3 sockets as well. Or 4 sockets, sorry. There we go. Link it up a little bit. This requires intelligence, and... okay, 85 intelligence. I gotta keep that in mind. Do want Dread Banner. There we go. I guess Precision's not a bad thing to level. We are leveling that in the background, correct? No. I think we'll leave Precision be for now. We could do Arrogance, but which is using our auras on our life bar, but I don't feel comfy with that just yet. No, we shan't do that. Vitality might be good to level, since we have a lot of mana spare. A lot of spare mana. We're not going to buy a leveled Vitality, because that'll cost too much mana. But we'll happily buy, like, a... let's say a low-level version. And our Golem goes here. Our Vitality goes there. Our Golem goes there. Or maybe Golem goes here. An Ancestral Protector can just relax for now. Yeah, our Vitality's barely being eaten up right now, and we are getting levels up. And we'll be leveling that up, even though it eats into our mana. Call to Arms during Cry, Frostblink, I'm fine with that. The Flame Dash would be better. Flame Dash would be better. But Leap Slam's fine. Yep, stream number 2 in one day, but this is the slow playthrough bit. We are sorting gear because it's an important part of the game that I do want to demonstrate. So finally, we have 2 gem sockets open. I am not sure what to put in them. Probably something utility-oriented. Because we have all of the other skills. Oh yeah, I should level Brutality in the background. We're never going to use Rage because it's melee oriented. We are going to use Brutality likely, so which is a skill that makes us only do physical damage, but a lot more physical damage. Which is somewhere around here. We'll happily level that in the background. Just make sure our auras are fine. They are. I actually think Frostblink is pretty good if you have Flame Dash, because it cancels out where Flame Dash does not. If you don't have a skill that... Sometimes Flame Dash feels better, but I think Frostblink is fine on skills where you can leap over stuff more. Void Manipulation to Flame Dash and Frostblink. Oh, so you don't die to Elemental Reflect. That's actually pretty good. I think a level 1 Frostblink or level 2 is fine. Yeah, because if you do... Because there are some mods on the maps that make you that reflect damage back to you. If you level these Frostblinks, even if you're not a melee, even if you're a melee character that doesn't specialize in elemental damage, you can destroy yourself on a wrong Frostblink. So linking that to Void Manipulation is not a bad idea. I'm not going to do that just yet, because I don't really feel the need. I don't think I'm going to do enough damage on a level 1 Frostblink, though I might want to level Frostblink because it increases travel distance. Yeah, we'll do that. You know what? We will get Void Manipulation. And we don't even need to level it. Where is that silly thing? Somewhere around here. I forget. It's this one. There we go. The low-level Frostblink would cost less mana. If you're using the spell damage thing with Battle Mage, that would definitely do more. Alright, we have our Golem. What are we looking for now? So the question is... Inspiration? Wait, why? We're not doing we don't care about elemental damage on this build, even though I do some. Oh, Inspiration's like low mana cost, you're right. It lowers the mana cost. That's true. Inspiration's a fun little support that increases your elemental damage and crit chance, but more importantly, it does reduce mana cost, so that's not a bad idea. You know what? We shall do that. And we'll do Call to Arms, Enduring Cry here. And 4-length this. Maybe we should quality it just because we're going to be using this for a little bit. Qualitying armor increases the chance of sockets. I don't think I explained that, actually, but there you go. Makes things cost less mana for inspiration, which is very useful. Yeah, 15 mana instead of 16, and that cost will go up as inspiration's leveled. So we have one more option. Or 4-length, you think it's better to use the bench? Maybe. Maybe. Arms, Enduring Cry. I don't know if there's any other gems I care to do. Maybe Decoy Totem. Though we always taunt on hit anyways, so that's pointless. You know what? Ancestral Protector, you get to live again. Even though you are not really relevant to me. Alright, congratulations, we have done our gear assembly for now. So let's do some maps. We have tier 2s to do. Ignore this one. Arcade. Now again, we want these to at least be magic as we look at the atlas. Mouse over arcade. Kill a boss of magic or higher version of this map. While this is considered a white map, maps get referred to in 3 different colors, technically 4 now. You have white, yellow, red. That is not related to their rarity. Even though this has a white nameplate, even if it had a blue nameplate, that does not make it a blue map. It's considered a white map, which is all the tier 1s to 5s, because the rune icon on the map artwork here is white. Then it'll be a yellow scribble in the yellow maps and a red scribble in the red maps, believe it or not. Fizz is lightning and blind on hit. I don't think we want Fizz as lightning just yet, because that's probably the most dangerous damage type we can suffer. This recovery of life and energy shield, that's totally fine. It's cheap to roll maps when they're blue, when they're magic rarity, so I tend to do that and make sure I get a comfy roll. While we're at it, let's do some scarabs, because scarabs are fun. I don't know if I have anything that matters here, though. We might save scarabs for now, actually, because these can be a little spicy to find. Still not sure about the expenditure of scarabs just yet. Alright, let's see. Less recovery rate of life and energy shield. And yes, the Necropolis stuff. Pretty good rolls here. And I decided to turn on the MTXs for my portals, so now a random MTX portal appears. Very nice. Yeah, I'm a level Vitality. Don't need a level Void Manipulation. Do want a level Frostblink, because that increases the travel distance of Frostblink. Now it should be noted we are not immune to freeze, which is one of our goals eventually. And we are not immune to chill, nor are we immune to shock. All of those are very deadly modifiers that we will have to think about. We will pick up this ruby ring. And a Crimson Township drop. Alas, that is a tier 1 that we did before that had the really annoying boss. Another Necropolis corpse that belongs to a family. While I may kind of want to try to get it done, I don't think I'll be doing too much. Ironically, despite this as being a Necropolis League playthrough, the one downside of Necropolis is that it's kind of a new mechanic that's pretty involved, and I don't know, I'm still not used to it, so I might not do too much playthrough of it in this playthrough. Depending on, I'll be using it casually, but not to the in-depth that I've been, like the other mechanics I've been explaining this playthrough. Because it essentially requires a spreadsheet to actually manage properly, or a website that's designed like a spreadsheet for like the proper crafts of it. It's actually one of the more controversial aspects of this league, the crafting of it. It's very powerful, but you have to know what you're doing, which I don't. So I might need to practice more in the other playthrough I'm doing before I try something like that. Oh yeah, I want to keep precision on my open, which actually will replace Ancestral Protector with. Oh, the Ultimatum guy's back. We won't. But we are tankier than before, so there is an argument to maybe deal with Ultimatum guy a little bit more. Protect the altar. We'll do Ruin for now. Protect the so Ultimatum has 4 mission types. There's Protect the Altar, Stand in the Stone Circles, Kill the Monsters, and Survive. Protect the Altar is pretty straightforward. There's an altar, enemies are attacking it. You have to kill them before they kill you. Or before they kill the altar, or you. Onslaught and Kill Rapier, but yeah, we don't care about that. Choking Miasma, that's fine. I think the altar heals a fixed amount every wave. An Ultimatum. Uh-oh. An arcade map. That's kind of neat. We'll take Stormcaller Ruins, which leaves annoying little marks on the ground that you want to stand outside of, or else they cause lightning storms to appear. Ah, an enemy has Ice Prison. You can actually phase out of Ice Prisons, phasing being the walk through enemies thing. Ice Prison counts as kind of an enemy you can walk through. There's also a little gap in there, which is nice of them. Not sure who has Ice Prison, but somebody does. Ah, our first Catalyst. Yeah, we'll take that. How about Ruin 2? Note enemies are getting tankier and tankier. I think they have damage reduction when they... At this point. I don't think they have increased life. They have, like, increased damage reduction. There's reasons for this. The main reason being having monsters have increased life just doesn't work out for the amount of life that you would need for certain monsters. Basically, there's a cap on how much life monsters can have, just an integer value, and the devs are finding they're reaching that value way too quickly these days, so that's kind of a problem. So they've opted for damage reduction on enemies instead, which actually is kind of annoying because it makes Leech less effective. Because you leech a fixed amount of life, right? And if you do less damage, you're leeching less life. There's other mechanics that rely on the amount of damage you deal, Fortify being a big one, that suffer that way too. Oh, I'm dying. Okay. Here, let's get Overwhelm physical damage reduction. I stood on the Stormcaller Ruins. That's death number 3, I think? Death number 2? Yeah, and Chills, Freeze, and Shock are impacted by that too, though usually I rely on other means to guarantee Chill, Freeze, and Shock, but that is a consideration. Alas, we lost all the rewards from Ultimatum because we failed it. And enemies got too tanky. And hit really hard there, surprisingly. I don't think any of these are worth it, so we'll just sell them to Kadiro. I always look for movements beyond boots. If they don't have it, I don't craft it, or I don't keep it. And I put a portal down right next to Ultimatum because I was expecting to die there. Sometimes it's good to preempt in risky areas a portal, like for instance Harvest. We encountered Harvest last time. So we're encountering the same things again. That's just random. Sometimes randomness is just like that. Alright, Sacred Grove.
This way, Exile.
So my damage is still bad. But that's okay. Endurance charge when hit, so this enemy's taking less physical damage, but we have the overall physical damage reduction at least, so... Primal... I forget what these call, or Primal Blister Lords. Kind of look like Kitaba Heralds. They basically have an annoying attack where they charge up and do an explosion. I pay attention to the tier 3 beasts, the ones with blue nameplates, light blue nameplates, because they tend to have the nastiest modifiers. And maybe I shouldn't stand in the middle of these. One enemy here has Snowbolt. They cause a bolt of snow to appear. Very frustrating. Dragonbone Rapier, I don't think that's actually worth it. There we go. Alright. And no tier 3 beasts, so we just take whichever one we care about. If I was playing in Trade League, yellow Life Force is actually worth more than the other two because it has a special crafting effect that a lot of high-end players like to spend Life Force on. Namely, Divination card doubling or sacrificing. And that's that. Alright. We barely got any Life Force, so it doesn't really matter, but, you know, it's fun to think about. The boss of Arcade is 2 ribbons, the Herald of Ice and Herald of Thunder and Ashes. You may guess they're fire and lightning oriented. One casts fire pelting storms, the other casts lightning novas. And another Crimson Township. Alright, we'll take the leather belt. I don't think we need bronze scale. None of these particularly stand out, so we'll just leave them be. And we seem to be done with the map. There's less than 50 monsters, there's only 4 left. And there's no point in hanging around with stragglers, so we got a skill point on the skill tree. We'll get Kirak mission chance. 98 life. And an open suffix for resistances. This is potential goodness. We have options. I would craft fire and lightning res on this maybe. That's not a bad belt at all. It's actually about the same as this one actually, so never mind. But you know what, we can keep it. I'll keep it for good, for sentimental value, I don't know. Alright, we have another map to do. Iceberg. There's 3 of them. We could do this one, it's a little dangerous, so we're not going to do it. We're going to just transmute this one. Number of rare monsters, that's fine. This is fine too. Yeah, I do think I'm going to need to get more damage. I think that's where our next set of levels are going to go. Into getting more damage. One way to do this is to go critical strike instead of precision, but you don't want to do that instead of a precise technique, where precise technique is we never crit, but we do more damage as long as our accuracy is higher than our life. However, that's starting to reach a threshold. Eventually you want to switch to just critical strike damage. But we need to guarantee that we're critting more than we are right now. So we're not going to do that just yet. Pride is one option, because we do get close range to enemies. Lightning Storm. The trick to Lightning Storm is not to stand still, much like many enemies in the game. Caustic Orbs are a little dangerous. When you kill a rare monster, they drop the green orbs on the ground and they hurt. Iceberg has one or two notable features. Iceberg's layout is basically 3 islands. The third island has a set of unique enemies, one of which is a boss. The other notable feature of Iceberg is that it has a very rare chance to spawn the glacial hideouts. And if you clear that out, you unlock a fairly rare hideout in the game. It's a very low chance. It's like you'd have to run maybe 100 icebergs to see it, at least on average. Maybe more, maybe less. It's moderately rare. It'd be funny if we found it this map, but I doubt we will. Alright, so passive skill point available. And I said we want damage. Where can we get damage from? We're also really close to herbalism. But I want damage, and that would be projectiles, essentially. We could go for Fury Bolts, that's not the worst idea. But I want to say that we want something more sword-oriented or impale-oriented. Let me see here. Could go attack mastery. I don't think that's really worth it. Oh, decisions. Let's see. Now, this is two-handed weapon impale. And hard to say what we want here. Impaler is a keystone that really doesn't matter for us. What about this? Melee damage? We don't do melee damage. Attack physical damage. I mean, honestly, this is not the worst node. Annoyingly enough, to my chagrin. Might actually go for this. Well, we haven't found the way forward yet, but when in doubt, follow the Fog of War. And there's the final bridge. I think this is the last island before the boss. We'll put a portal down just in case I die to them. I don't trust this boss, believe it or not. The boss here is an ice-themed warband. Warbands being a league mechanic from Yore. They actually have a chance of dropping items specific to the Mute Winds. Yorishi Aurora Sage is the leader of the Mute Winds. There are other different warbands. There's the Wraths, which are lightning themed. I forget the others. I really don't pay attention to warbands. Minor Misspeak Impaler is a keystone that doesn't matter to anyone. True. It used to be relevant for slow hitting impales, but they nerfed it to the ground to the point where it's just pretty much functionally pointless. And we're done here. Okay, no maps, but that's fine. It happens. So, we will vendor these. These are all vendor items, the chromatic orbs and the 6 socket.
You'll be back.
We will only keep 1 stack of identify scrolls around. Now, we're in a conundrum. We don't have any more tier 2 maps, or even tier 3s. We have a tier 5 for some awful reason, I don't know why. Probably from the Heroic Battle Pass. Now, there are several ways we can amend this lack of tier 2 maps. We're going to start with one of them, the 3-to-1 recipe. If you sell 3 of the same map, 3 Crimson Townships in this case, you'll get a map a tier higher. It's random which one you get, though it's fixed. Like if I sold these 3 again, it would still be a peer. But if I sold 3 different Crimson Townships, it could be a different map. And we'll do that. The other thing to do is we just go back to tier 1s and sell them. We're not going to do that. This is fine. They'll steal our endurance charges on hit, but that's not a problem. Pier actually has a boss that isn't in the main game. It's not a really involved boss, but it is a boss nonetheless. A unique boss nonetheless. It's kind of just a variant of one of the normal enemies in the game, but some of the bosses here are very kind of, I don't want to say lazily put together, but they definitely reuse some assets. That's for sure. Oh, unique map. Perfect. That actually will count for completion. We don't even need to make it normal or magic. We just have to complete a map if it's unique. I don't know what tier is this. Tier 1? Oh, perfect. We can run it. I want to say unique maps don't get the Necropolis modifier, weirdly enough. We have Undying Evangelists. You have to get close to them. One enemy here has the Invulnerability aura. They will pulsate an invulnerability buff, and so we have to kill the rare in here. And we only have so much piercing. I think I see the monster though that was doing it. We killed them. Great. All Flame Ember has appeared. I don't know how much all Flame Embers matter. Here's an essence. Shot ground on death and bleed. Anger essences pulsate for a little bit and then shoot fire auras like that. Slightly annoying. If I recall correctly, Pier's layout is pretty extensive. It's actually kind of a large map, but it's also kind of hard to navigate. It does kind of a figure 8 loop, but you kind of end up backtracking in it, I find. Not the most appealing map. Ah, here's an abyss. We know abysses, so we'll run one. Normally I skip abysses in the campaign. Somewhere in maps I run them because monsters matter in maps, as opposed to campaign where they only mattered up to a point. Ah, the abyss has moved. And we got a Chaos Orb. Lovely. Do people run immune response notable? Which one is that? Is that a Atlas Tree node? Like the Blight in the one? This is a problem. This enemy here is Trail of Fire, which is actually kind of annoying because they do a degeneration ground on effect. Ah, yes. So the question being asked is for Blight, which we encountered last episode. It's the Mushroom Tower Defense game. Do people run immune response? I want to say that's here. Blight encounters your map spawn more non-unique monsters spawn faster. I could see it making... Actually, does it matter? That might make the Blight go faster. I personally wouldn't use it, though. Seems, I don't find Blight that slow in maps, necessarily. I only find that important in Blight maps themselves. Those spitters there summon little worms. The worms actually die immediately if you kill the spitter that spawns them. Unlike a lot of summoners, the spitters, I guess, own the parasite or something that they spit out in the Abyss Fissure. Well, the boss is in a gauntlet. Notice this says gauntlet instead of arena. This boss has a weird, unique minigame where it makes you go through, like, labyrinth trials, essentially. It has 3 waves. This is the Ancient Architect, I think is their name. We'll just speed past the last one. Ancient Architect, as far as attacks go, summons spike pits and throws spectral hammers that run back at you. Has 3 gauntlets, and then he's done. We are good. Alright, expect the unexpected has appeared. And now we still have a lot of monsters left. If you, like I said, this map's kind of a figure 8, and so we have this segment to do. With so it's actually a good map for farming in some ways, because it has a lot of monsters, so you save, essentially, a few. You save maps doing this map, kind of, sort of, arguably. How much mana does Frostbite cost? 20 mana? That's a little too much for a movement skill, in my opinion. I'll have to be more thrifty with my use of it. Ah, the dreaded Temporal Bubble enemy. Temporal Bubble enemies take no damage outside of their little bubble, but they slow you when you're in the bubble. They actually used to... the similar bubble mod used to be just a mod that said proximity shield. It didn't slow you when you were in it. It just made you you have to just be inside the bubble. It was a smaller bubble though, so that was, I guess, the one trade-off. I kind of prefer the old version. Like, why does it have to slow you? If you have curse immune, reduce curse effect, it counts as temporal chains, so it does reduce. So if you have ways to mitigate curse, you will benefit from that. I think this is just better in most ways. So. Alright, we're done with this map. Yeah, it reduces cooldown recovery as well. It slows all sorts of action speed, and it's very annoying bubble. We don't like Temporal Bubble. Temporal Bubble's bad. All my homies hate Temporal Bubble. We'll just keep the jewel. I don't know. I hoard eye jewels. Or I hoard jewels for no reason. And we'll sell these. Next up, we have... So, we're out of Tier 2 maps again, but we do have a unique map, Olmec's Sanctum. Olmec's Sanctum's kind of fun. Monsters have more life and damage, but they drop higher level items, and there is a special gimmick to this map. I want to say it's a reference to the old Nickelodeon show Legends of the Hidden Temple, where you had to go through a gauntlet and assemble 4 fragments of a statue, which is what we're doing. There are 4 wings to Olmec's Sanctum. Each wing has a different theme of an element type or a damage type. We have Chaos, Lightning, Fire, and Cold wings. We're in the Chaos wing right now. Just want to kill this. Ah, we got a map too. What's nice about maps is that even if you're running a unique map, it will drop other stuff, so we can run a layer next. Very nice. Put a portal down next to the arena, because why not? Alright, this boss does Ethereal Knives, which is a skill which is like a fan of poison knives. I think it's physical damage knives, actually. And puts Degeneration ground, Caustic Ground on the ground. Very annoying. And we got a unique, how fun. And Tail of the Silver Monkey, and that's one of the pieces we need. Yeah, Olmec's Sanctum was actually, from what I'm reading, a supporter unique. Somebody actually paid enough money to design their own unique in the game, and they decided to make a unique map called Olmec's Sanctum. And that's that story. We'll just leave all of that down the ground. Keep forgetting to turn on Blood Rage, and I really should turn it on because it does give me more damage. Nice Nova Diviner's Strongbox. Diviner's Strongbox are actually pretty good. Also, we're taking a lot of damage. There's a Soul Eater enemy here. With Ignite on it, too, and Shock. What on earth are you doing? You should be marked, too. This isn't good at all. Yeah, Soul Eater is a very nasty modifier. Killing enemies around it scales them. And we got a bunch of Diviner's Strongbox give divination cards, and those are pretty nice. We actually have one that's blue, and that means we can turn this in for whatever it says. In this case, 5 Chaos Orbs. We will take any armor bases, and maybe armor and evasion bases. I want to say the enemies here are doing more damage because they have a shock. They do lightning damage and can shock us. The arena. Let's see. Zoriak the Storm casts lightning marks and a bunch of sparks. Can't really dodge the sparks, you just have to have lightning resistance and soak the damage. It's not really that bad. Head of the Silver Monkey. Ah! Not guaranteed, but special events can appear in, Masters can't appear in unique maps, master missions, but things like breaches and abysses can certainly appear, in strongboxes for that matter. Not sure if essences can appear, but they might. This is a Toll Breachstone, the ice-themed enemy. Stay away from the lightning warp, or lightning mirages. And they drop breach rings. How nice of them. We're going to collect those breach rings, because if you could sell 60 of them, you get a special item, which is a whole inventory's worth for what it's for reference. Generally not really kind of a niche vendor recipe, but it's fun to collect, I suppose. I still have yet to sell a... No, I think I've sold exactly one so far. Leviac the Volcano, kind of annoying, has Righteous Fire and Righteous Fire and I think he has a proxy shield normally, and Firestorm, so you just gotta move around him.
I believe in traveling light.
Yeah, oh, Carnage Heart, that's actually a good amulet, maybe even for us. Alright, let's see. And Elevore, which is not good for us, but we'll pick it up anyways. We'll go back to town to sell stuff. Then we should be able to face the boss after this. Carnage Heart is all elemental res, life leech, damage while leeching, so that's not bad. And all attributes is nice. I'm not going to appraise these just yet. I'm going to just keep them and think about them, pontificate on them. I will vendor this, though, since I know I'm vendoring it nonetheless. And for the finale, alright, we get the Hand of the Silver Monkey. The game's nice enough to make us have to click the monkey pieces, which is good, because I would forget to do it and have to run back if I didn't. Alright, and then finally... Oh no, we're not ready. We don't have the last piece yet. We have to do the cold area, I believe. Lightning Totem minions are very dangerous. Basically, if you see them, you have to move, because they will explode on you and do a lot of damage. I'll take some Goliath gauntlets. We're being cursed with frostbite, which is why we're taking more frost damage than normal. Those necromancers cast a curse on us that makes us take... Oh, you may notice that all of these are rare shark skin boots. That's a loot conversion mod. Some enemies can drop specialty types of loot. In this case, that pack of monsters, each one of them would drop a shark skin boot. It's fun. There's not too many situations where it's actually relevant, but you know, it's fun to think about. So, Akiak the Glacier shoots ice spears, and more importantly, frost walls that are slightly annoying. And another layer in Crimson Township. How fun. And we get the Silver Monkey and a Two-Stone Ring. That's nice. Hydra Scale is nice. Royal Bergenet's nice. We're also looking for swords, Eternal Swords specifically. Not seeing any, so... And we don't even have to click this one. Olmec the Allstone. The Olmec Sanctum's... the titular Olmec. Olmec of the Olmec Sanctum is here. Olmec is the Allstone. He's just all the totems at once. Kind of a difficult fight if you don't have damage, which I don't. We'll see how well we fare. And notice the other totems are here too, along with some Searing Bond totems. Slightly annoying. We are tanky enough to maybe withstand a lot of these hits. Low TPS SMH or low DPS MH. Understandable. But this build was designed to do low damage for the playthrough to go longer. So actually our new puzzle is how to fix that problem. And Olmec drops a ton of items. Who's doing that? Leviok? Okay, silly. Bone Crypt map. Here, let's sort these a little bit. Sometimes inventory management is important. Alright, got some uniques. Got way too many items. Lapis Amulet actually matters. And we want to look for any swords. Arguably, I should make a real filter. That will have to wait. We're not going to do that on stream necessarily, at least not right now. I think we're actually pretty good on these pieces of gear. Eyeing over it. There used to not be filters in the game, so all these items would show without any, like, highlights, and they would all be the same font size. But it actually looked like, if I turn on the filter entirely, it looked like this, which is much worse. So we're just gonna put on that back on. It gets to the point where if you turn off a loot filter in a high loot map, you actually can crash the game. Yeah, I will do a filter stream at some point because that is relevant and the playthrough could benefit from that. Alright, let's take a look. We do not need Elevore. In fact, we actually already have an Elevore. These uniques don't matter to us. I'm not going to go over the uniques we get because they're not really relevant most of the time. And we do have a few layers. Not layers like stacking, but layers as in like a den. Alright, let me see if there's anything good here. Tenhall Ellie is nice. I think the rest is vendor fodder. And I did say I was going to look at the gear I did pick up, so off we go. And keep the breach rings in this tab. That's more elemental res as well, so I can go there. Suppress damage and attack speed. No resistances though, so not worth it. 25% move speed, not worth it. Decent amount of life pool though. Yeah, I think we can vendor all of this. We got a chance orb, I'm not sure why. I think if we sold two of an identical piece of gear, we get a chance orb. Is our accuracy still? Yeah. I like Einhar. I'm not going to block Einhar. Ready, Exile. Alright. Excuse me. Now, we do have a new map, thankfully to doing the Olmec. And that's Lair. Lair has a legacy boss in it that was originally named Rigwald. He has a different name here. Life and area effect, a little scary, but that's fine. And I don't think we care about any of these. Oh, you died because of the bestiary monster, I see. Lair has 3 zones in it. It has this outer area at the start, Actually, there's another area with the Rigwald boss called Dark Forest. I don't know if it's in this map rotation, this league, but it can be. You can fight Rigwald twice in a row. Though that Rigwald's a little bit more annoying. Second zone is a cave. Very similar to the caverns in Act 2. Oh yeah, the Shaper's Realm, late into the game, which has 4 mini-bosses you have to fight. One of them can be Rigwald. This is true. 3 essences, or 4 essences. Very nice. And heist contracts. Heist contracts are highlighted red by the loot filter. They normally aren't. I think they're just... I forget what color they are with the normal filter. And we got a level. We'll take some damage. More scarabs, I'll take those. We have yet to talk about Beyond. I might do that in a second. Because that's a map-only event. I can't guarantee how long this particular session will go. We might not clear all of the 8 Tier 2 maps this session. Notice we're already over an hour into the video. Ah, Mana Siphoner. Get close. I might not use Far Shot anymore, or Point Blank. I'm debating that, because sometimes I'm far away from enemies enough that it doesn't matter as much. Molten Shells you gotta watch out for, because they explode, and they hurt when they explode. My Phasing Blast didn't work there. I was trying to jump past the enemies and it didn't work because there was too much like geometry in the way. Like trying to jump here stuck me there. Normally I try to run away from strong boxes, so getting stuck like that can be a death sentence if you're not ready. Computers, oh, we got a 5-link, but we're not going to use it because we don't need it. Your computer is not liking Blight. Understandable. Mushroom Tower Defense actually eats up a lot of... is actually one of the more process-intensive events in the game. It just simply spawns too many monsters. Like an inordinate amount of processing power goes into that system. It was even worsely unoptimized when it originally came out too, which is funny. Alright. Iceberg again. One thing I never mentioned was when you have the maps that can drop in your map pool aren't just adjacent maps, but maps that you've already completed. So even though we're running a layer, which is over... where is it? Here. Notice it's not connected to Iceberg, but since we've completed Iceberg, this has a chance to drop. Adjacent maps are more likely to drop, especially if they're uncompleted, but it doesn't stop Iceberg from dropping or other completed maps we have. The final zone of lair has the boss and a crafting recipe. Lycius Midnight Howl has 2 attacks. One is this bevy of wolves. The other is he turns into an invincible wolf that chases you and causes a lot of bleed damage. He'll say you should run or something. Yep, there's the wolf, so we're just going to run around and ignore him. Until he turns back normal. There we go. And he taunts us with dialogue lines. And he dies. He's all about that great wolf. He's talisman oriented, if I recall. He was originally in Talisman League, one of the older leagues in the game. It was really convoluted for its time, and led to this boss as the penultimate encounter, or the ultimate encounter, I guess. Not seeing any great items here. Yeah, Talisman Mate is one of the more stinker leagues out there. It was not a good league. Talisman items were not good, and the system was too annoying to deal with, too unwieldy, and nobody liked it. Might be the worst league in the game. And talismans are still in the game, it's just random drops, but they're situational drops, and they're not good, because you can't craft on them, and crafting makes items really good in this game. We have a 3-to-1 for Bone Crypt. And we do get a new map from it, Arsenal. Oh, Arsenal, you're not a fun map. Reflect elemental damage. That's fine. I don't think we do any No, we do cold damage. This is where you might want to put on Brutality over Vicious Projectiles. Let me see, 45% more physical damage over 33. So no, we don't want to do that just yet. Vicious Projectiles just wins out right now. So we're just going to roll this over, because we would die because of the cold damage we're doing. Even that mere 151 to 269 would kill us. That's how powerful Reflect damage is. Life is Energy Shield, that's doable. Alright, let's run it. Always Ignite, a little annoying. Let's do 50% chance. Okay, a little bit of a spicy map with the monsters, but that's doable. Arsenal is based off the Warehouse/Grain Gate tile set, or actually this tile set is what Grain Gate was based off of. Unfortunately, unlike Grain Gate and the Warehouse from your the internal areas do not have any tells for which way's forward. In fact, I think they're all dead ends. The inside areas, but you do want to go in them because they have monsters, and you want to murder the monsters. Life as Energy Shield is generally not a threatening mod. It is annoying if you come across a tanky monster and your damage is low, which ours is, so we might actually have trouble if we come across a monster that hurts us. Ultimatum guy's here to sass us again.
Nothing to be ashamed
of. Such a great voice actor for the sass he deals. I was hoping we'd come across Delirium this playthrough, this session, because there's some interesting dialogue lines that happened the first time we encountered Delirium in maps, first and second time. Since we can't level Frostblink without needing more intelligence, we're not going to. Alright. Alright, let's just put a portal down next to the Trial Master and run this. Defeat waves of enemies. We'll do Razor Blades. probably not going to do more than 1 or 2 rounds. Eventually your character gets powerful enough to do higher tier ultimatums. We're not there yet. Or to complete the ultimatum waves. Even in the highest tier of maps. We're not there yet, so I'm not going to worry about it. Orb of Yogurt. We'll do Blood Altar. Which has a degenerating ground in the middle. Sometimes the ultimatum man says dance neither near nor far. Ultimatum is a mechanic where you generally don't want to be hit by the enemies. They hit hard, and so you want to play a build that moves around a lot and can do damage while moving. We'll do Stormcaller Runes, why not? Though I find Stormcaller Runes hurt a lot, so maybe not. And I do want to gamble Bliss. We'll try Razor Glance to Relentless Assault. Getting close. And I'll leave it there. Those Turbulent Catalysts are very nice. And Trailmaster taunts us for not playing all the way through, as per usual. But we have maps to do and not enough damage to complete the ultimatum. One thing about maps is this is where the builds start mattering more. Campaign you can really do whatever you want, but maps is where you gotta really think about how you scale damage and speed. You want to be able to move fast, kill fast, and not die much. One of the defenses for not dying is killing too fast for enemies to hit you, but that only goes so far. Sometimes you do end up dying in a situation like that, but it is very effective normally. However, I find dying to be kind of annoying, even though it's effective to just do a lot of damage and clear faster, even at the cost of a portal or a few. But generally you want to be able to... But what matters is mostly clear and damage in this game for maps. Because the faster you can run maps, the more items can drop, and the less time you're spending wandering around. Efficiency and stuff matters. Though, I guess you can play at your own pace in the game. It's just such a big game that eventually you want to be able to kill fast, otherwise just going slow feels too much of an undertaking. Even if you're going at your own pace, sometimes that pace needs to be sped up. It's kind of like trying to do areas in other RPGs at low level. Sometimes you just, or with bad skills, sometimes you just, even if it's a single player game, sometimes you want to gear up. Ah, a new map. Tier 3. Our first Tier 3. Channel is very similar to the waterways from Act 4. We'll go into that when we do that map, maybe. I hear a corpse exploder. there is a rare monster somewhere around here that is exploding corpses. It is probably that skeleton. The trick to exploding corpses is not to be around them when they're exploding, because they do a lot of damage based on the corpse life. If a corpse explodes a unique monster, that can be nearly fatal in one hit. There's a lot of explosions on death are probably some of the most deadly attacks in this game. Volatile orbs is another one where enemies spawn orbs on death. They have been known to kill players instantly. In the higher tiers, at least. I think one reason people say PoE is like a high damage game is because like it is designed to be able to kill even the tankiest of characters. More or less. But you can make yourself tanky enough to not die to just like lots of things. It's just that there's always something that can kill a player. Sometimes that something is way down the line, but it's there. So the boss of this area is also a boss exclusive to maps. It is... We don't fight it just yet, but you may notice there's a flaming sword on the ground, and then animated weapons. I don't know if there was ever a version of this enemy that appeared in the campaign, but I think this is only in maps. In the Arsenal, which is an appropriate name. And the boss is the Steel Soul. It is a very angry sword that casts Reave at us, or Lacerate actually, now that I think about it. I guess it does fire damage, rains some swords down. And we got a new map for it. Nice. Excuse you. I'm busy looking at my skill points. Alright. Now... Ah, we got a Divine Vessel. That's actually a very useful item, too. I was wondering when we get those. We're not going to use it anytime soon, but... you may have remembered that we have all these grayed out effects on our Pantheon. The Divine Vessel is how you upgrade them. You go pick certain maps and kill certain bosses in those maps, and the vessel will capture its soul and upgrade the Pantheon. And we're mostly done with this map. How about that? That was actually pretty clean. No. Nope. And we'll put all of these up.
Buy them.
Wait, is this bad? It is 41 to lightning res, actually. Chaos res. This might be okay. Has a decent life roll, too. No open suffixes, though. I might keep this around, you never know. I can always just peruse my stash of items when I want to upgrade. This is very much a pay-to-win scenario, though. Had I only 4 stash tabs, this would be a little too uncomfy to keep items like that. Alas, PoE does incentivize buying stash tabs to a certain point, though it does have diminishing returns. Like, at some point you just run out of... Like, you just don't need to hoard that much, and you run out of reasons to buy tabs. It's not that as expensive as you'd think to get there. Alright, so we have 3 more Tier 2 maps, and I want to run these first. Spellfree, Dunes, and Wharf. I believe Kirak was selling Wharf. Kirak is no longer selling... Oh, he's selling Dunes, though. I'll take that. And then a bunch of other higher tier maps.
Got my eye on you.
Got any Horizon? I do, but I don't like... No, I have 5. Yeah, okay. We can talk about Orbs of Horizon while we're at it. I do have Kirak missions as well. But we have Dunes. I will run the Dunes first, and then if we run out of maps, I'll talk about Orbs of Horizon. But generally, you can actually just reforge a map as another of the same tier. That's what it says. That's what it does. But it is random. But you could, say, turn this Dunes map into whatever of the other 7 other tier 2 maps. It's not great odds though, so I don't tend to use Orbs of Horizon myself until have enough of them, and even then. Alright, Dunes map is actually one of the more popular maps in the game. That's right, some maps are actually worth grinding over and over. And the reason is, Dunes is very open, pretty linear, easy to navigate, and generally, and the boss is not too hard. It's just a very good clear map if you can clear wide open spaces, which we kind of can. Ah, Alva's here. And enemies spawn lesser shrines on death. You could talk to Alva, might as well. We're here to demonstrate content after all. I like to put portals in front of Alva though, in case I die. The vault. Alright, we'll upgrade this. And again, Alva's the you gotta kill enemies within a time limit thing. It's really not worth doing Alva unless you're spec'd into it on the Atlas tree. The time limit's just too strict and the upgrades are not as rewarding. It's kind of unfortunate, really. Also, you generally want decent chaos resistance on Alva, because a lot of the enemies do chaos damage in this area. But you can see how I didn't even get a Stone of Passage here. You do get items from Alva, at least. But if you want to ever make a good dungeon from Alva's temples, generally not worth it to run Alva until you're spec'd into her, I find. On the Atlas tree, that is. Because again, Master Missions can be specialized into on the Atlas tree. It's very nice. Alright. Hatchery? Sure, whatever. I keep forgetting to put on Blood Rage, and I really should leave it on. Because it does give me more damage from Frenzy charges. Which is a very powerful effect, actually. And increase attack speed and leech. All of which are nothing to scoff at. This is an exploding crystal enemy. Unfortunately, I think none of these enemies dropped a Stone of Passage. Very unlucky, the last monster in the room has the Stone of Passage. That was just bad luck. And slow enough kill rate. But it doesn't matter, that area was already revealed in the map. Goat monsters are actually pretty dangerous in maps. Their leap attack can hurt a lot if you, with the wrong modifiers on the map. But you can see Dunes is a very open layout, and there are builds that can hit the whole screen very easily. This is not one of them per se, but it is kind of good enough for Dunes. And Alva number 3. Alva appears 3 times in a map. You can make it 4 with an Atlas node. Did you win the Blight when you froze? Or did the Blight lose? You won the Blight. That's funny. That's amusing. Alright, we are getting to the point where I need to be more careful with my mana. So I gotta be wise about that. Alright, Alva. Master Explorer. Banquet Hall. Sure, we'll upgrade this. I think Incursion was the first league where I felt the enemies got ramped up in difficulty for a long while. Oh, we got 2 Zones of Passage now. Okay. Link 1 to the Strongbox Chamber and 1 to the passageways. See if we can get there in time. And that's Alva. We won't see her too much. It's like an 8% chance for most of these events to spawn. So a little bit less than 1 in 10. Oh, I lagged. Sometimes the servers do that, especially some of the servers. It gets to the point where I pick a server that actually has less, that has higher ping, but tends to not chop as much. And I didn't drop any frames, so that was on the game's end. Sometimes, I think the devs have stated that the game just, like, their servers are kind of groaning under all the player amounts, even at this point in the game. I don't know how true that is for Necropolis, because this apparently has a lot less players than last few leagues. So, I don't know how true that is. So, the Dunes boss is always in this little alcove here, this wide alcove. And it's Epilogue again, the blacksmith. He hits pretty hard. The big thing is he has a new moveset now. He'll leap and drop caustic ground and zombies. And he hits hard with his sword still. But not hard enough. And we got up here in a toxic sewer. And commissioned officer. And more attack damage. And 0 monsters remain, so we can leave. 15% increased move speed. No, thank you. We already have 30. Sarkonja's head's a good evasion, critical strike helmet. It's fallen by the wayside these days, but it used to be a good leveling or mid-leveling unique. But I'd say it's fallen in favor of recent. 2 more tier 2s to do. We did level, and Kirak shuffles his inventory if you level. Believe it or not. I think he does. Maybe not, though.
The job never ends.
This is where master missions can come into play. Ah, here's a belfry. That is a tier 2. It's tier 3 now.
Leave behind some supplies.
Of note is Kirak missions are always a tier higher than or up to tier 16 than the highest map you've done. He also has voice line. Oh, didn't mean to click that. He also has voice lines for every mission he gives. The final thing is that the maps are, I think, always rare, and their tiers don't match up to their. Oh, vendor shuffling doesn't replace the whole thing at once now. Oh, that's how it works.
Retreat. We were forced to
Now this does have increased monster damage, but it should be fine. It has a lot of item find. Still run the Belfry. And again, Belfry's normally a tier 2 map, but it is a tier 3 here. Only because Kirak is only offering tier 3 missions. He'll be offering tier 4 after this, because we'll have completed a tier 3 map, excuse me. And unlike normal maps, the All Flame does not detect Kirak missions, so we are not dealing with any Necropolis minigame here. So in some ways the enemies are going to be easier. Belfry is a big circle. If you're familiar with with the music and the rooftop theme, you might be able to guess what the boss is. But if not, I'll spoil it. It's the Act 5 Kitava variant. And we'll pick up a Crimson Jewel, why not? I guess it's not a circle, it's more of a square. We're bending the 9 degrees now. And in the center of the other, so like down here, will be the Kitava fight. Who's called the Gray something. The Gray Statue or something in this version. Ah, detonate nearby corpses.
My spirit is spent.
An apparition enemy too. Deicide Mass doesn't matter. I'll take a Divine Life Flask though. We do need to keep an eye out for those. Or do we? I do not know. And there's the rare map. Kirak's mission was find a rare map, and we found one. Unfortunately, it's a tier 1, but that's okay. One thing of note is, you may notice I'm not picking up a lot of rares, but I'm picking up some of them, and that's because I know the bases at this point of what matters. I'm looking for armor and evasion bases, and things that say Lamellar, or Worms, or Scale, or the armor and evasion bases. Bassinets are another, and that's just memory at this point. It's always funny when you do an area and it's like, I'm doing so well, and then realize you're doing a lower level area. That's just related to light maps and running it. We're not there yet in this playthrough, because I'm still doing lowest level stuff. And what's the name of this boss again? It's called Lord of the Grey, excuse me. Has less health than Act 5 Kitava, actually, or less proportional health. You can see how fast the health bar went down. We do have to go through his whole health bar, though. Now, one thing of note is that the monsters in this map are magic. They also, but thankfully, they do give experience. There's the X-Blast. The Lord's Heart. Yeah, he's dying pretty fast though, which is very nice to see. I like the music for Kitava in Act 5. It's pretty dramatic. And there we go, Belfry complete. Note that it's not a magic map, but it is magic or higher, so it's a rare map, and that counts just fine. And we'll take Shaping the World, which is another map find node. I think our next nodes are going to be Shaping the Mountains and Shaping the Skies, which give maps or higher tier, which is very important for us. Unset Ring could be okay. I don't think Lacquered Helmet's any good anymore. Feathered Arrow Quiver. I think that's Asphyxia's Wrath by the artwork. Asphyxia's Wrath is a cold damage curse arrow thing. It's a leveling unique. It's not really that good. I haven't seen too many builds use it anymore. It's fallen by the wayside. A lot of uniques have had their use, but as the game's power creep happen, a lot of them fall by the wayside. And 0 monsters remain. We cleared the whole map. We don't need to be here anymore. And because we ran a Kirak mission, Kirak's inventory shuffled. You used it in Crucible. Interesting. Crucible League had use for it. I guess Crucible League could have use for it. Triple res, one of them being Chaos. This is worth keeping. No prefix for life though, but we'll think about this one. We'll put these up, and the rest is vendor fodder. Fizz is lightning with Asphyxia's Wrath is good. I see. Anyways, Kirak should be selling a new repertoire of items. And we are looking for, well, it's not selling any tier 2s. Now we have 2 options here. We could try to find another Kirak mission with a wharf in it, which we might. I just see no wharf. We might have a scouting report. I don't think we do. We have an otherworldly and a singular. We don't need these though. Asphyxia's Wrath does physical damage as cold, and I see. So it synergizes with certain extra damage mods. Okay, interesting. So what we might do, if we have the 2-to-1 recipe, or 3-to-1, we might see if this unyields a wharf. It does not, so not going to bother. Let us try these Orbs of Horizon we have. We'll take a layer. Layers aren't fun. We only have 5, so the odds are not in our favor. It's like a 1 in 7 chance to get a wharf. Yeah, no dice. 1 in 7 chance each roll, or on average. I think the odds are a little bit different than that. So the final option is just go back to tier 1s and farm until we get wharf. Crimson Township on yields wharf. We also run the tiers higher than it, Mausoleum and Overgrown Shrine, because those are connected and they could unlock wharf. And we don't have those, so I'm not going to bother. And I don't like Crimson Township, but we could run it.
Godslayer.
And again, you're not selling wharf or any similar things. And we don't have the scouting report, so sometimes this just happens, that you just don't get a map of a tier. And that's one of the challenges of maps. You have to be careful, be spicy with that. Alright, we will not use an Orb of Alchemy, we'll use an Orb of Transmutation. Use Spectre of Auras. And make it sure we have 2 affixes. You got an Apothecary from Crimson Township. Well, sometimes that happens. Level 75 areas or higher that are Crimson Township, Defiled Cathedral, or Crimson Temple have a chance to drop a card called Apothecary, and it's very valuable because it gives an incredibly valuable unique. An incredibly powerful one. Speaking of cards, let's turn one in since we've never done that before. We have 2 of them. So all you gotta do is go to Lily or Kadira if you have him, and hit trade divination cards. Not sell, trade. And you get the item. That's it. You have a full stack of the same card. And you just get the item. That's all. That's how it works. So we'll run a Crimson Township again. I don't think we care about any of these modifiers. We might run a Cartography Scarab, because why not? It's fun. Just increase the map drop rate. Ooh, very annoying mods here. Take that. Take that. I don't like this at all. But that's fine. Sometimes Necropolis yields very difficult modifiers on enemies, but it guarantees more corpses. Still, one problem with Necropolis is it just enemies get extra buffs when you don't want them to. And those Wicker Men are back. A lot of times when I do these playthroughs and record VODs, I tend to stop around maps because maps do drag on in some ways, or not drag on, but they are a longer haul and can result in repeating areas for grinding. This is where the Grinding Gear Games part of Grinding Gear Games comes in. The developer's name of PoE, developers of PoE's name, Grinding Gear Games. They live up to that title around the mapping part of the game. And that's fine, ultimately. It's not the worst thing. It's just there. Ultimatum. We don't even have a guaranteed chance of it. It's like an 8% chance each map. He's just been very spicy today. The Trial Master just wants to be around, wants to be liked.
No glory in making it only 4 rounds.
Sass Master, more like. I don't know how much we'll do of this, but yeah, at least we get to see a lot of Trial Master demonstration.
Starts in the blood.
Dance neither near nor far. I think I hear Cassia, I'm not sure though. I thought I heard her humming in a second, but I don't see her on the minimap, so likely not. We'll have Stalking Ruin. Ooh, yeah. That's Cassia's sound. She hums the Blight theme, I think. Da, 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 da. But like really poorly. Yeah, let's not deal with Temporal Bubble guy. Honestly, I don't really want to do more.
The expected choice.
And of course, Trial Master's very salty. It's not worth. So I'll suffer the Trial Master's salt just to speed up the map. Cassie's not here, I just was mishearing. Alright, continuing forth. Looks like we are getting towards the end. Alright, and we fight the boss. Remember, we have to kill him fast. Which we have damage now, so we might be able to do it. Much better than last time. Unlawful. And we only have 36 monsters left out of hundreds, so probably best just to leave this map. And we did not get the map we wanted, alas. Oh, we got the Dancing Dervish. This is a minion sword. It's very similar to that Steel Soul boss we fought. So yeah, if you can't find the maps, you just repeat what you have, is the general idea. I don't think we need this, so... Really, I think in the maps, you just gotta be comfortable grinding and have fun with what you're playing. Ah, but we have 4 Desert Springs now, so we might be able to sell the right combination to get a Wharf. So, 1, 2, 3, layer, how about this combo? Wharf! See, there you go. Easy. And we will make it magic. 2 unique bosses. That's actually a little scary with Wharf, but we'll do it anyways. And this is all fine. We're level 77 already. I tend to overlevel on maps. You actually do tend to... Maps cap at level 83, but character levels cap at level 100. You generally have to have an extremely powerful character to do level 83 maps at level 83. Generally level 90 is the comfort zone for a lot of characters at that point. And then it gets to like level 95 these days. There's actually an achievement, a Steam achievement for getting to level 90 in normal difficulty and non-hardcore. It's called Diminishing Returns, implying that the last few levels don't really matter. In fact, it's not really... Getting level 100 is more aspirational than actually mandatory like a lot of RPGs, action RPGs. It's not like World of Warcraft, for instance, where the game starts at level 60. In PoE, the game starts once you beat the campaign, if anything. But the getting levels is just a secondary, is a means to an end in that regard. Singular scouting report again, that's fine. Oh, Nico appeared. That's fun. I'm too used to him appearing in my normal playthroughs because I have him guaranteed. Ah, the Explorer Scouting Report. That's actually the one we want. Does that that'll shuffle Kirax missions to always have a map we haven't finished yet. Which, as you might imagine, very useful. Alright, let's see. And we'll go this way. I can imagine, regarding Blight in chat, that having the ability to chain and have bouncing walls is very useful. Makes sense. Alright, the boss should be down a set of stairs coming soon. But I think we're not there just yet. I don't know why I picked up that Prophet Crown. I do not need it. One thing that really annoys me in PoE is they changed the way rare monsters work at some point, where or affixes on monsters, magic or rare, so that if you see a modifier, you're more likely going to get that modifier on other monsters. It's just like they pick through a limited pool or something. So you may notice we came a lot of. So if you come across an annoying mod like Corrupting Blood, you're going to see it a lot. And that, I don't know, for some reason it's not like a big deal, but it gets under my skin. I don't know why. No, we're capped on Nico. We might do Delve in a second. Nico has an exclamation mark telling us, hey, we should do Delve.
Beautiful find, Exile. Generators full up though. Might be a good time to go for a dig, eh?
Yeah, he's just like, hey, dig. Alright, this is the boss right here. There's a big set of stairways, and oh, it's not the boss I thought it was. I was thinking of Shipyard as the boss that was dangerous. This is the Song of Currents. Stone of the Currents. Stone of the Currents has a bubble that makes it take a lot less damage. However, there's these things, these flood orbs. What you do is you blow them up next to the monster, the Stone of the Currents, and they take way more damage now because their bubble's down. That's their gimmick, and you know, a fun little gimmick, I guess. If you do enough damage, it doesn't even matter because they take, even with the damage reduction, you can still murder them fast. Should be noted those flood orbs blow you up as well, but yeah, it's fine. That's fine. Home skill boots, yeah, dragon skill could be okay. 30% move speed, 18% lightning res, open prefix for life. Might be good. All alien life on the hit. Yeah, I know a lot of people forget that the fights have mechanics just because people tend to do more damage than there are mechanics in a game. Like, you can just one-shot so many things that mechanics don't matter. Most of it's just because I played the game for a while. Alright, let's put these items up, and this is not a bad ring for us. It just doesn't have the resistances we need. I'll put it right there. This is bad, this is good. And we'll vendor this. Actually, this might not be any better. No, it doesn't. Let's just vendor it. And at that point, we have cleared the wave of Tier 2 maps. So we've spent 2 hours streaming. So I am going to pause the playthrough here. And we'll resume with Tier 3s next time, likely. I should note before I end the stream, or end the VOD or whatever, that I'm probably not going to do a full tier of maps every time, because look how many there are, like 8 per, and then it gets more extensive. I mean, there's less later on, but the fact that you have to... Maps get rarer and rarer the higher you go, essentially, or harder and harder to get. So it might be more than one stream per tier of map to complete them. And there's a bunch of other events that'll happen later too. Oh yeah, you can see how like we've only completed 2 tiers of maps. And that's... So maps do take way longer than acts, even in tiers. How far am I going in the playthrough? I'm still not sure about that. That's another thing. I'm not sure how far this character can actually go in the playthrough. It would be nice to at least get to the 2 of the bosses in the end game, but I don't see this character going that far without gear investment that'll take longer than the videos are reasonably going to be. I would like to get to yellow tier maps and maybe early red, but this playthrough might be winding down, actually. But I'll come to a decision there as we feel it out, maybe. And then we'll come up with a maybe conclusion video on this playthrough and reflection. Well, either way, that'll have to be thought of next time on the Let's Play, or not Let's Play, kind of playthrough of Necropolis.